you to quit sneaking up on me like that. What do I mean? Well, I never expect to see you, and somehow you always show up. Yeah, I'm still in my pajamas. I'm still relaxing. I even have my coffee. I made plenty if you want some. It's in the pot. Just like my mommy always tells me, you have 2 arms and 2 legs, you can do it yourself. Don't you just love her? I know I do. Oh yeah, I got this on vacation one year. Isn't it so cute? You know me, I have the travel bug. Okay. Calm down. I will get to reading. Someone's a little impatient. Let's see. Where were we? Ah, yes. After months of snow. How rude. We're trying to have our book club meeting. After months of snow, warm breeze, snow melting, trees and rooftops drip, drip, drip. Open windows, fresh air, buds sprout on limbs. Crocus crack through icy earth. I can't help but feel hopeful. Spring cleaning. Out back, a cool shadow from the house. This is just gonna pop off. Protects a wide snowbank. I packed Jennifer's largest cooking pot with snow. Set it on the wood-burning stove. I bathe myself in hot water. Wash my hair, refill the pot. Wash my clothes, hang them in a warming air to dry. I pull apart my bedding, shake out blankets and comforters, drape them along the picket fence to breathe in the fresh spring weather. I pretend to be Laura Ingalls Wilder. Wilder? I don't know. Whatever. Oh my gosh, my hair. Sweep the whole house, wipe down the surfaces, wash away grime and grit from a winter of closed doors and wood smoke. After a long season of hibernation, my body likes the heavy chores. The change in the weather and the strength in my muscles spark new courage. What if I've been wrong to think that staying put is the best option? What if it will be years before anyone will return to town? What if forces beyond our control prevent my parents from coming for me, no matter how much they might want to? And what if there are people closer than I realize? What if there are people like me who are left behind in Denver? What if they are living as close as 30 miles away? If I can figure out a way to travel safely with minimal risk, it can't hurt to venture out and explore. Can it? Is it worth using up the gasoline in the minivan? Is there a way to take gas from other cars left behind? Yes, there is. But don't do it. It's a crime. What if I get lost? What if I find people and they turn out to be dangerous? What if I run into looters? What if there are other dangers like wild animals I might not be able to defend against? What if? Curiosity wins. Gas is too precious to waste on a trip that might amount to nothing. I try other cars with neighbors' keys, all dead. I don't know how many lonely winters might lie ahead. If I lose the use of the minivan, packing in Needed supplies will be much more difficult, but that doesn't mean exploratory trips are off the table. Denver's too far to venture by bike, but Lewistown and Pinkmont aren't. Lewistown is closer, but Pinkmont is bigger. Might have folks like me who were left behind, or supplies that could be useful. Pinkmont has a hardware store. As soon as temperatures are consistently warm enough, I'm setting out to see what I can discover. Strength and conditioning. I begin a daily routine by lifting Dad's free weights and taking long walks, then long runs through the neighborhood. I ride my bike all over town, choosing routes that take me up long, winding hills. I gain strength and endurance, and so does spring. By the time the forsythia boughs erupt, and their lavish yellow blossoms and the early redbud trees bloom dark pink, I'm ready to tackle a long-distance trek. So join. Pump up bike tires, load pump and patch kit and bike trailer, pack food and water, rain gear and first aid kit, feed George and shut him in the house. The trip to Pinkmont is too long and I'll be riding too fast for him to keep up. Debate taking him along in the trailer, but that will slow me down. Need space to bring back supplies. Strange leaving Millerville. Since the evacuation, I haven't ventured farther than the edge of town. Since the tornado, I don't even go that far. Pedal north along the highway, exposed and vulnerable. 4 lanes stretch out wide and straight, disappearing in a point. A vanishing point. I hope not for me. A sign tells me I'm 13 miles from my destination, 26 round trip. Farmland lies fallow and untended. Fields where horses and cattle used to graze are empty. No signs of animals. Occasionally I pass a farmhouse, perfectly normal from a distance, but no laundry on the line. No chickens in the yards. I think of fresh eggs and milk, just my luck to have concert musicians for parents instead of farmers. I press on. Everything is still. Except for hawks circling the sky, I'm the only movement on the entire landscape. Past the Christmas tree farm and the private school. Up on the hill to the west, debate riding up there to scavenge third kitchen. Decide to wait for the ride home if I have energy. Up ahead, finally, the first buildings of Pinkmont. The sun shines high in the sky. Pull over in the cottonwood shade. Snack on almonds, dried apricots, and water. Ride slowly into town, watching, hoping, dreading signs of life. Business district. I park my bike, pull one of Dad's hiking poles out of the bike trailer, unscrew and extend until it's almost 4 feet long. The sharp tip clicks on the sidewalk. If anything threatens, I want to be prepared. I walk down Central Avenue. Looters are here too. Smashed windows and broken merchandise. Damn. I should have brought the gun. I forgot about it over the long winter and now it's too late. Personal belongings, flattened and discolored by 2 winters of snow and mud, litter the streets. Probably dropped or lost in the evacuation. For hours I ride through town, senses keen and tuned to humans, but no whiff, sight, sound, taste. Hardware store on the south side, I smash the glass front door, crawl in and out, loading up with batteries and propane canisters. That alone makes the trip worthwhile. In the pet aisle, I miss George. This is the longest we've been apart. I stuff bags of rawhide shoes and a squeaky plush parrot into my backpack. How sweet. Leaving the hardware store, I hear a low growl. I freeze, crouch halfway out the door. A pack of dogs, different breeds and sizes, including a German Shepherd, a boxer, and several mutts. One looks like a wolf, but there are no wolves in Colorado. Are there? Could it be a coyote? Several wear collars. The German Shepherd bares his teeth, growls, takes a few steps towards me. I stay frozen. My sharp hiking pole is in the bike trailer. The other dogs advance. They just want to protect their food and toys. If I move too quickly, I will cut myself on the shards of glass around the broken door. Even back inside, there is nothing to prevent the dogs from coming in after me. I need an advantage. Buy some time. On the floor to my left is a gumball machine. Under a wall-mounted fire extinguisher on the sales counter is a display of rings, a March of Dimes donation jar, and a case of beef jerky. I shift my weight to avoid the broken glass, pull myself back into the store, open the case of beef jerky, grab fistfuls of dried meat. The dogs bark, break into a run. I squat back down, throw pieces of jerky as far as I can out the door. The first dog devours one of the pieces, sniffs the ground for others. The pack fights over the jerky and I throw out more. While they're distracted, I grab the fire extinguisher, pull out the pin, squat down again and crawl. Through the broken door, drag the fire extinguisher with me. The shepherd sees me, turns aggressively, growls. I shout and aim the nozzle, squeeze the handle as hard as I can. White foam explodes over fur and teeth. The dogs yelp and meow. When the chemical hits their eyes, the shepherd whimpers. Poor puppies, and runs off, leading the others away. I drop the fire extinguisher and sprint to my bike, mount as far as I can and ride in the opposite direction. Much harder work now because the trailer is full of supplies, but I pick up speed. Soon I'm on the highway, shifting and pedaling with all my strength. Coffee break. So good. Getaway. I ride several miles before my chest stops pounding and my breathing evens out. I can't stop looking back, but the dogs are nowhere to be seen. After much time and distance, I slow down, fall to my hands and knees on the side of the road, throw up twice. Those dogs could have killed me. I'm so damn lucky. They could have found me out in the open with no means of defense. Even with my hiking pole, I doubt I could have survived a pack of aggressive, hungry dogs. I find a fresh bottle of water, rinse my mouth. My legs shake so badly, I sink back down and stay on the ground, sipping my water and gathering what's left of my wits. Equus. I pedal south toward Millerville, riding to beat the sunset. The highway unfurls like a striped ribbon. A dust cloud rises up over the knoll. I coast to a stop on the shoulder. The ground trembles, rumbles. A herd of horses gallop onto the ridge. They move as one, a queen body like starlings in a murmuration. I stand astounded, afraid, amazed. They veer west and they are gone over the hill and into the distance, leaving me straddling my bike in a dusty silence. My fatigued legs find new strength and I giddy up toward home. Desolation. Noun. Deprivation of companionship. Emptiness. Sorrow. Woe. Homebody. Spring wipes her muddy boots on the mat and settles in to stay. Everything blooms, geese migrate north, and we migrate back to Mom's house. No more long-distance trek. No more exploring without George. Staying put. Staying home. Early morning. Reach back towards sleep. Fleeting images of dream. My mother's face. Safety. Comfort. Images recede. Chest constricts. Arms wrap around ribs. Ribs wrap around hollowness. Ignore grief. Hope. Dream returns. Fingers of sunshine stretch over the eastern horizon toward tops of trees. Squirrels scamper up slender aspens, leap onto a roof, tumble and chatter across shingles. George shoves open the door and nudges his nose under my grumpy elbow. Stop it, George. Go away. I'm sleeping. He puts his head on the edge of the bed, pushes his big square brow against my shoulder and whimpers. I groan. Why do you have to be so pushy? He rolls his brown eyes up toward mine, wags his little tail. I stand on the back porch in my pajamas. George explores the yard, sniffs around bushes, and occasionally lifts his nose to smell the air. A V of Canada geese flies overhead, honking. I shade my eyes, watch their descent toward the lake. One at a time, they stop, flapping their wings until they are gliding, banking in formation, circling below the treetops out of sight. I remember my dream, the palpable mother connection. I wonder if geese feel connected in harmony as they fly. Is the feeling of being connected to another creature a universal feeling across species? Is that love? Picnic. I need the cheer up. Even George thinks so. I pack a lunch and grab my hiking pole. At the last minute, I shove the gun in my bag. The next time I meet a pack of hungry dogs, I want a better weapon than beef jerky. Beef jerky's nasty. Why would you even try and use that as a weapon? We walk neighborhoods west of the lake, past the supermarket, down the bike path toward the creek. George alternates between running ahead and trotting along in step with me. My heart rate increases, my spirits lift. The path leads us away from neighborhoods until we are walking along the banks of the creek. Mature cottonwoods shade the trail. Damselflies flash bright blue in the iridescent in the dusty sunlight. A bull snake slides out from under a shrub, stretches across the path, slinks off into the grasses on the other side. I make George sit and stay until the snake is gone. Dad taught me which snakes are dangerous. I feel lucky whenever one crosses my path. I miss Dad. The creek does sparkle a dance. A robin flits back and forth to her nestling's mouths, open and ravenous. A great blue heron stands stock still on the far bank, plumed, head poised like a statue, waiting for unsuspecting fish. 3 turtles sun themselves on a partially submerged log. A dragonfly buzzes the surface of the pools in the shallows near the shore. We bushwhack down to the creek bank. Exhale a long, deep breath. George arches his back, settles down, nose twitching. We eat our lunch and watch the creek tumble over itself. I remind George not to drink and pour him some water. I scratch the spot between his ears and he closes his eyes, rolling over to offer his belly. I stretch out, lean on him, and watch the clouds wander across the sky. What does it all mean, George? George picks up his head. I put a piece of grass between my thumbs and whistle. Is there something I'm supposed to be doing that I'm not? Is it my fault we haven't been rescued yet? Really, truly, I am not particularly religious, never given much thought to whether God exists, let alone whether God pays any attention to my little life. Lying on my back in this beautiful place, surrounded by so many wild birds and animals, I'm trying to really, truly understand how alone we are. This day, like a million other days, I live before evacuation. Like any minute, a cyclist will come riding around the bend, or a pair of runners will jog right on by. The animals around me are living their lives just as they always have. Nothing has changed for them. Do I look as natural to them as they do to me? We're all just trying to survive. Does that make me wild? Can one lone girl be a civilization all by herself? Oh, deep. 2 whole years and I haven't seen another person since the looters left town. Is there really no other human beings for hundreds of miles or thousands? How long can this last? What would I be doing right now at this very moment if the evacuation had never happened? A freshman in high school, maybe, taking honors classes, studying for final exams, shopping for a dress to wear to a dance, kissing someone for the first time? Maybe. Or playing on the soccer team, scoring the winning goal, state championship match. Being lifted onto teammates' shoulders, paraded across the pitch in victory, my whole family cheering, jumping with pride. I reach into my pocket, my brother's book report. But there's another thing that makes her the challenge girl. She has to be alone on the island for 18 years. 18 years. 18 years! Am I capable of surviving alone for 18 years? Trevor would be out of high school by then. The twins would be in their 20s. I would be 30. Even if our food and supplies could last that long, is it possible so much time could pass before people return? Possible? Maybe. Conceivable? No. Surely the government wouldn't need that much time to adjust whatever imminent threat caused the evacuation. George is at least 6 or 7. How long do Rottweilers live? The thought of life without him is unfathomable. Everything is still. We follow the creek path west, twisting and turning with the water until unfolding across the footbridge. A hawk soars on air currents, a prairie dog chirps in urgent warning. We trek up and over a hill down past the cemetery to the fork at the road that leads to Lewistown, the little neighboring town. We walk along the shoulder of the road, but soon realize our foolishness and walk right down the center of the double yellow line. Imagine, George. We're part of the Rose Parade, and this line is the parade route. We have to follow it exactly until we get to the very end. But be careful not to step on horse manure. Think of what those marching band members have to walk through when they follow the horses every year. Kind of hard to march and play a tuba while watching the 4 horses' turds at the same time. George prances beside me, glancing up, wagging his stumpy tail. A few more miles and the yellow line leads us up to the intersection of the cemetery road and Lewistown's main street. South toward the baseball diamond, nothing moves. North toward the businesses, everything is still. Come on, buddy, let's see what's happening. Lewistown, the French bakery, the guitar shop, the outdoor ice skating rink. I learned to skate there as a little girl, holding Dad's hands, clinging to his legs when the evening train rushed by on the tracks east of the rink. I conjure the hot, sweet scent of kettle corn, the weight of heavy, wet mittens across the street as the carousel, endangered tigers, elephants, sea turtles, Arctic wolves. I circumnavigate the platform from animal to animal. George picks up his way along the planks of the floor behind me. I climb into an old-fashioned sleigh pulled by 2 polar bears. George sniffs the giant panda nearby, then settles on the floor at my feet. Sounds of calliope music. Young mothers and fathers lifting tiny children onto the animals' backs, laughing when the carousel jolts to life. I will the wooden slats in the ceiling to rotate, slowly at first, then faster until I get dizzy and close my eyes. Carousel picks up speed, everything pulls slightly towards center. World whirls, animals come alive. Music grows louder, dissonant. Animals growl and snort. Carousel twists and dips, drops hard and fast, jerks me awake. Twilight is fading, the railroad tracks gleam in the light of the rising moon. Nearby, a cricket sings. George lifts his head and cocks his dark ears. My head still swirls, but the earth at least is still. My muscles remember the packs of dogs, and my senses tune to threat. I step down from the carousel. George stands and stretches, jumps down after me. Everything is quiet. Darkness settles around us. Even the cricket is still. Well, Georgie, we better head home while we have the moonlight. I'm sorry I kept us out so long. George dances a circle and falls into step. I climb the embankment to the railroad tracks. We walk in silence, watching the moon rise, timing our strides to the span of the railroad ties. Bats start and dodge high above our heads. A great horned owl hoots. Its mate answers in the distance. Gravel crunches beneath our feet. We turn off the tracks and head towards the path. 10 more minutes and we are back again in our own neighborhood, heading for home. Summer. Across the heat, we sleep in the basement to stay cool. Leave windows wide open, hope for a breeze, the sun pounds in town. We stay inside, subterranean like prairie dogs in our underground den. Ooh, I'm getting a little dehydrated. Well, are you the one reading? No, that's me. So, shh. Worries. Since the tornado, I'm terrified of getting sick or hurt. I remember the pantry at Great-Grandma's house, the bloated top of an ancient can of potted meat. Botulism. I check every can of food for bulging or bad smells. How long do canned goods stay edible? Do pasta and rice go bad? Boiling food only adds to my water concerns. We finished all the drinking water from the supermarket. We're raiding bottled water from local gas stations around town. Every time I ride anywhere on my bike, I make a point of coming home with at least 1 new case of water. The supermarket still has a few jugs of distilled water, but I don't know if it's safe to drink, but I keep forgetting to look it up at the library. If things get really bleak, I suppose we'll just have to risk it. Each day I grow more concerned about what will happen if our food and water supplies runs out. I read expiration dates, organize our food stores to ration cans with the longest shelf lives. I continue scavenging through homes and businesses, but I worry about the days those supplies will be gone too. Every once in a while, I find a vegetable garden still producing a few carrots or radishes from earlier seasons. I cook a pumpkin I find growing in an old compost pile, but the recipe in Mom's cookbook calls for baking the pumpkin before mashing it, and all I can do is chop it up and boil it. The whole endeavor turns out to be much more work than I anticipate, and the results don't taste very good. I hate when that happens. Searched for fresh fruit from the trees around town, but last autumn the fruit was either too sour or too wormy. It's hard not to worry. Storm. We are swimming at the lake when a storm rolls in. I am in the water. George runs back and forth along the length of the dock, barking at me. We both hear thunder, clouds mass above the foothills, jagged lightning divides the sky. I remember soccer coaches calling everyone off the field during practice. The whole team gathered under the picnic shelter to wait for 30 minutes before heading back out. The hairs on the back of George's neck stand up as more thunder rumbles over us. I swim to the dock, pull myself out of the water, grab backpack, towel, shoes, run for home. Hot drops of rain pelt the street. I fall into the rocking chair on the porch, towel my hair. George whines and looks at the door, asking to be let inside. I rub him between the ears. Oh, Georgie, so brave in the face of looters, and yet so scared of a little thunder. We retreat indoors. Conflagration. It rains throughout the afternoon, occasional claps of thunder and lightning. The brittle, dry land sighs with relief as the welcome showers. Lightning continues through the night, patterns of light on the walls of the basement where we lie, listening to the storm. I am shocked awake by the sudden explosion of thunder, blinding light. George barks and whines. I reach for him. The smell of ozone wafts through the air. Bleeps? It's okay, Georgie. I think lightning must have struck pretty close, that's all. That's an awful smell. I head upstairs, out onto the front yard. The rain has stopped, but the wind is blowing. No moon. I can't see until lightning and thunder strike again, painting everything in a flash of brilliant clarity and deafening noise. Again, the ozone smell fills the air. An orange light glows in the sky behind my mother's roof. I stare, try to reconcile moving light in the middle of so much darkness. Then the ozone smell is replaced with smoke. George! It's a fire! It happens so fast. Back into the house, dining room, kitchen, out into the backyard. Beyond the fence in the open space, a huge cottonwood tree is ablaze. A dark scar mars the side where lightning struck. Flames lick the branches and circle the trunk. The wind picks up, a giant limb crashes onto the split rail fence, and the fence catches fire. Sparks and embers rise into the sky. The fire travels, engulfs my brother's fort in the corner maple tree. Burning 2x4s fall to the ground. Now the maple is ablaze too. The fire consumes the fence. Eats its way around the perimeter of the yard toward the house. It happens so fast I don't think about the possibility that I might be in danger. The wind blows in from every direction. The fire is famished. It swallows the length of the fence, then leaps to Norton's house. Within minutes, it's licking the second-story windows. Sparks blow from Norton's house to our roof. George, come. What to save? We run back into the house. Stand there. I don't know what to save. Family photos? Artwork on the walls? What meaning does any of it have if no one ever comes back again? My water supplies and food are in the garage, but the mudroom door is so hot to the touch, and I choke on smoke billowing up from the crack underneath. The garage is already on fire. I run back into the living room, find my shoes. My backpack's on the floor where I dropped it. I grab it, slam open the front door, and drag George out of the house. Ashes, ashes. For hours we're hypnotized, watching our home and houses up and down the block devoured, consumed, destroyed. The fire is ravenous, but flames never reach over here across the street where we sit paralyzed in the heat. The wind dies down, the rain resumes, douses everything, drowns the last of the flames. Thick white smoke rises from burnt-out foundations. Skeletons of cars sit back, black and unrecognizable, where garages stood. My skin is plastered with wet ash, the taste of smoke coats my mouth and nose. The sun rises alien and green on the smoky horizon. I'm filled with despair for all I've lost. My brother's fort, the yard where my mom married Paul, the first home baby Trevor ever knew, obliterated. and my supplies of food and fuel, my mom's van, the bicycle with the trailer, all destroyed. Now I'm truly stuck here. I can surely find another bike, but what are the chances I'll find another car that will still start after 2 years and 2 winters? Any flirtations I had with making my own way back to civilization burned to the ground along with my neighborhood. Stand up. Limbs unfold stiffly. Pull my backpack over my shoulders. Tug at George's collar. He lies on the porch, follows my movements, another tug. Come on, old friend, there's nothing here for us now. Let's go. He rises slowly. The trauma of the fire has aged us both overnight. Together we walk into the smoky sunrise toward the lake trail to Dad's house. Alright, well, I think that's a great place to stop right now. I know, it just means you're just gonna have to show up randomly like you always do, and we'll have to finish this. We still have about 100 pages left. We're doing good. We're on 311. I know, crazy, huh? Well, you're keeping me on track, that's for sure. Thanks for showing up. Much love, dear.